What is good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on Avengers 4. So we're getting close to that Captain Marvel trailer, which should be coming either this week or next week, and then the Avengers 4 trailer that should arrive the same time as the Infinity War trailer in November. So we're going to go over something that I really like going over. We're going to go over an Avengers 4 plot leak that supposedly sounds legit, so take it with a grain of salt. But you know, on this channel we like to go over it. Apparently it's come from a Brazilian social media person who works for Marvel, but it's always interesting to go over this, and some of it does sound very interesting. So there is no time travel in the movie. Thanos really became a farmer just like he did in the comics. So let's break it down. So we need to get to the end of this first, because obviously no time travel. The quantum realm isn't classed as time travel, so I think that's probably what it's on about. It was confirmed by a concept art that Thanos did make a farm at the end of the movie, so these two bits are confirmed. The movie starts with Tony Stark and Nebula arriving on a destroyed Wakanda. They find all the Avengers devastated by the death of half of the population. There's a tension between Tony and Steve, who soon leaves the place. Black Widow follows him. So far, yeah, pretty interesting. It would sound legit. Obviously, Tony and Steve still have beef, but it's going to be squashed. MCU opening logo. Avengers theme song in a slow pace, announcing a real start to the movie. It is shown what happened during Avengers Infinity War. We then see some of Doctor Strange's 40 million visions of how to beat Thanos based on other dimensions and different times. This includes scenes showing a dead Thor, Captain America wielding the, obviously, Mjolnir, Tony Stark with a tech gauntlet, and a grey Hulk among some of the other flashbacks. Now this is pretty much confirmed, verified, because we have been told that within Avengers 4 we will see alternate timelines. So far this could actually be interesting. The whole scene is cut to show Doctor Strange's face walking up in a place that looks just like that one that Thanos was talking to an infant Gamora after he snapped his fingers. Thanos looks around and sees thousands of capsules floating through this place, and it is shown that those capsules retain all the beings that were killed by the snap. Thanos comes back to aid Gamora again, and we know that a place is the Soul Stone. So far it's a lot of it's viable. I wouldn't really question it yet. Obviously we really do love going over these plot leaks. They are interesting. Doctor Strange finds some important characters that his vision revealed, like Hank Pym, Star-Lord, some unknown characters so far that will be introduced in Captain Marvel movie. Doctor Strange managed to move inside the Soul Stone due to a spell that he cast before dying. He then used the same spell to unfreeze people. He does that to Hank Pym. See, this is interesting because I said about a day ago, I think, day or two ago, that he did actually curse the Time Stone. So a lot of it so far does make quite a lot of interesting fact. On Earth, Tony Stark becomes S.H.I.E.L.D. brand new director. He authorizes the evacuation of the Iron Legion to help rebuild the world. Some units were created to help people. That's a lot. There's closest one like Aunt May and the boy he met in Iron Man 3 who lost his parents after the snap. Tony also uses the Iron Legion to search for Thanos throughout the galaxy. But we know they're going to be looking for Thanos throughout the galaxy. So far, so good. Captain America and his team now search for Hawkeye, he goes by the name of Rowan and wears a mask. Now being an outlaw, he's tracking a person believed to be a Skrull. Steve intends to gather all the Captain America's team heroes that were in Civil War, since Tony and Steve are still acting like adversaries. And then they try to find Rowan. Captain America then asks about Scott Lang and how they can find him. Thor meets a doctor, then goes ahead to the cave where he had the first vision of the Infinity Stones in Avengers 2. In this vision, Thor finds that everyone who died after the snap weren't really dead but kept inside the Soul Stone. With this information, Thor goes to Tony and tells him everything he saw. At this moment, Captain Marvel flies over Manhattan. Tony and Thor go after her, treating her like a new threat. They start a fight where Captain Marvel shows all her powers and defeats both the Avengers. Captain Marvel then tells them she received a signal from Nick Fury. Tony accepts that she represents no threat. So far, I can't really see any reason why this wouldn't actually be kind of legit. Doctor Strange gathers Hank Pym's knowledge of the quantum realm, manages to find a way out of the Soul Stone, though Doctor Strange dimension domain, and with that they manage to go to another dimension which is the quantum realm, where Scott Lang is stuck. With the help of Janet Van Dyne, Doctor Strange finds out that it's possible to contact Wong in the same way she contacted Scott Lang, through his mind. That way Wong reaches the place where the quantum realm machine is and brings Scott Lang back, who then begins all three back to the real world. Captain America has a long beard and long hair, and this is absolutely torn and depression at this stage. He blames himself for the loss. He had after Thanos' snap. There's a scene where Captain's team fight the Skrulls. The scene is really intense. Who fights with the brawl, and Cap's team is almost defeated when suddenly a shining gold light appears in the sky to bring a defeat to all the Skrulls in a matter of seconds. This is Captain Marvel. Well, they are literally, because I think she's going to destroy him during her own movie. Captain Marvel was sent by Tony to find Cap's team and invite them to join the fight with Thanos once again in a temporary truce provided by Tony. And Captain Marvel looks at Steve Rogers' state and questions him about Captain America's honor, doubting that he could be the legend that she once heard during her childhood. In an emotional military dialogue with Captain Marvel, Steve is motivated again to come back and fight once more. They move to S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, where they find Tony after a virtual reality video is shown to introduce the whole story so far of Captain Marvel. Passing through the Battle of New York all the way to Thanos' finger snap, Tony gives Captain America traditional suit back to Steve, along with his shield. Steve cuts his hair and shaves, taking back the appearance of Captain America of the first Avenger. But Tony says this is temporarily. After all this is taken care of, there won't be any wreck. So far, I mean, it does sound quite convincing. After all, the three teams gather: Tony Stark, Thor team, Cap team. Doctor Strange and Hank Pym managed to create a form of tracking the energy trail of the stones. Thanos finds the whereabouts of Hank Pym and Tony Stark, then create a device they can reel the energy off the Infinity Stones, make it impossible for a human to hold it without dying. Such a device is given to Thor, Iron Man, Scott Lang, Captain America, Captain Marvel. So I presume these are devices we've seen in the kind of images for Avengers 4 a while back. Bruce Banner, after successfully attempts to turn into Hulk once again, managing to finally transform, but keeping his own mind, becoming Professor Hulk. Now, in the leaked promo art, we do actually see this, so that's quite convincing. They all travel through the planet where Thanos is, and they start the final battle in a very intense and thrilling fight. Thanos, in a given moment, it looks like the Avengers will lose, but then Captain Marvel appears, shining with a great power, faces Thanos in an epic battle. She aims on destroying the gauntlet. The Avengers are together once more, and they manage to destroy the Infinity Gauntlet, which explodes. All the stones are on the floor. The Avengers retain possession of almost every stone, but Thanos falls back and retreats to the Soul Stone, which disappears after Hank, who is still on Earth, manages to track the whereabouts of the Soul Stone that came back to Vormir, where Thanos sacrificed Gamora. So this is like the main part of this potential leak. The only issue is there's no talk of Vision, there's no talk of Loki, because we know from set photos that they're going to be important. But if this is a real leak, I don't really think they could go in great detail about everything. So there's two post-credit scenes. Everyone is coming out of the cemetery where Steve Rogers is buried, for people remaining there. All of a sudden, in a motion of blur, a man appears in a wheelchair without revealing the face, wearing a hat, moving towards the screen. The man takes his hat off and is shown to be bald in a wheelchair, following by 5 people. The music grows and the scene ends. So this is essentially saying the X-Men are coming and Professor X is coming. I mean, they do own Fox, so this isn't too much trouble. They could have made an actual potential deal before the actual deal. Captain Marvel arrives on a devastated planet after receiving a stress call. There, she finds all the soldiers dead. He questions one soldier and asks what happened there. The soldier says a name, and that name is Adam Warlock. Captain Marvel puts a hologram device that contains a name, being Nova. So I don't really think this isn't too far-fetched, because we know Marvel are supposedly making a Nova movie. We know that Adam Warlock was supposed to appear in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So I'd say a lot of this makes actual sense. But like I said, guys, it is a potential leak. It could be fake, might not be real, but I do really like going over these potential leaks. It's very interesting because obviously there is no time travel. The quantum realm isn't time travel. It's something completely different. How they defeat Thanos is a bit unexpected because I thought they would go back to that Wakanda scene, but this doesn't actually state where it actually is. So guys, I'm still running that Infinity War Blu-ray. All you have to do is tell me who is the worst hero. I've been reading your comments on the previous videos and some of them are really funny. Anyway guys, I'll catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.